بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالعرجون القديم صدق الله العظيم. Respected brothers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was mentioning the different favors that He has showered upon insan and upon the humans, and He mentioned the earth and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings forth from the earth foods, grains, fruits, etc. for humans. Then He mentioned the next blessing about the day and night, that He has made the day a means of earning and the night a means of rest. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then goes on to talk about the sun and the moon, that these two are also very great ni'mats and they play a very great role in our lives and have a great impact on the earth and the inhabitants. Yet although they are so great in their creation, they are still bound under the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will continue doing their orbits and they will continue moving around until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions regarding the sun, which is the basis of our solar calendar, that وَالشَّمْسُ تَجْرِي لِمُسْتَقَرٍ لَهَا, that the sun travels towards its destination, within its orbit, without moving, without straying, without going off course. ذَلِكَ تَقْدِيرُ الْعَزِيزِ الْعَلِيمِ, this is the perfect arrangement of the mighty, the all-knowing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that وَالشَّمْسُ تَجْرِي لِمُسْتَقَرٍ لَهَا, that the sun continues to move, continues to travel to its destination. Ulama mentioned that what does it mean by destination? He said over here it could mean, number one, the destination that the sun does on a daily basis, where it rises in the morning from the east and slowly it goes up till noon, and then once again starts to become weak and then sets in the west. But then the next morning it'll start to come out again from the east. So a 24-hour cycle. Daily the sun is starting from one spot, from one point, going over and then returning back to its point. So ulama mentioned that just like a traveler, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that tajri mustaqarrillah, they say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a metaphor of the sun to a traveler. Just like a human travels, the sun also travels. Meaning just like a human travels, no matter how far he goes out in the world, he returns back to his original spot, his house. In the same way the sun sets off in the morning, does his full orbit, and then comes back to where it has to start from. And other ulama mention that this journey is talking about its yearly journey. That one is the sun's daily journey, 24-hour. Rises in the morning, sets in the evening. Rises in the morning, sets in the evening. Rises in the morning, sets in the evening. And the other meaning is that the sun sets off in the morning and rises in the morning, sets in the evening. But daily the sun sets in a different area and rises in a different area. That's why in the Quran Allah mentions Rabbul Mashariki wal Magharib. So there's only one Mashriq, there's only one East, and there's only one West. So why is Allah saying Rabbul Masharik? He's bringing the plural. Masharik means the plural, the Easts and the Wests. So Allah mentioned over here that Allah is mentioning all the points where the sun rises from. Because throughout the whole year, the sun only rises exactly from east twice. And twice it sets in the west, exactly in the west. Besides that, when it starts in the east, first they'll start from here and it'll set exactly in the west. Then it'll move a degree here and it'll rise and it'll set a degree off from west. The next day he'll move off another degree. And as this sun moves off, the day gets bigger and bigger because it's got a bigger cycle. So as we have a summer, and as summer ends, then what happens? The sun goes back and it starts to rise from these spots until a time comes it starts again where it finished. So this, that the sun is moving to a destination, yearly destination, that is moving from here, there, from here, there, moving across, but then it goes back and it goes back to its original point. So I mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about this course, this journey that the sun is undertaking. But when you look at all this, the timetables are printed in December and the time is written. The sun will rise at this time, set at this time. Once the timetable is printed, nobody has to go outside to have a look. But has the sun really set? Has the sun really, has it rose from the west, from the east yet? No. Why? ذَلِكَ التَّقْدِيرُ الْعَزِيزُ الْعَلِيمُ. Because this planning and this whole mega system that's taking place, who is it? Who's doing all the arrangements? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing all the arrangements. Allah saying how such a great system, the sun rising in the morning, setting in the evening, rising in the morning, setting in the evening, pinpoint place of rising, pinpoint time of rising, and exact time of setting. Who is managing all this? Who is doing this whole system? Who is taking care of all this system? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ذَلِكَ التَّقْدِيرُ. This management is from the mighty. Taqdeer, Aziz means mighty. That Allah is so powerful that the sun, no matter how big it is in its size, it is bound to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands. It will not move. If Allah fixed this place for it to rise from, it will only rise from that place. If Allah fixed this time, it will only it will only rise at this time. No, never will it go against Allah's command. Never will it sway off the course. Never will it go beyond, before, after the time that has been given. Why? Because Allah is so mighty that it is under Allah's control. And Alim, Janne wala, the all-knowing. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said this system in such a way that Allah is all-knowing. Allah knows all the necessity of the makhluk, of all the different makhluks. What necessity they need, what heat they need, what temperature they need, what time they need the morning for, what time they need the evening for. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with all His wisdom, with all His ilm, He has fixed these times. And the sun will stay within this. And when we look at other things in this world, if you look at the trains, they have a schedule as well. Flights have a schedule. Every Mondays, for example, the Emirates goes from Manchester to India. And it's been going for years. It's got a fixed schedule. It's got a fixed time that you'll set up at 1:30. It will land in Dubai at 8 o'clock. And so many brains behind this. The whole traffic system, the aeroplane itself, all the different apparatus within it. Yet, can it ever be that 2 weeks under trot, the flight exactly takes off the same time as last week and lands at the same time? 2 trains from here to London, Preston to Houston, goes daily. Has it ever been a time where consecutively a week, every day it sets off at 9 o'clock? There's always a delay. It goes early, it goes before, it goes after, it reaches Houston late, it reaches before, it has a problem in between. Halaki, behind this whole train system, the whole flight system, so many akal, so many minds working, so many people working. Yet they make faults and there's never, and this, the sun, for years, decades, since the day Allah created the sun, that timetable, if you look at the timetable of the year 2000, the year 1950, the same time that he rose on December 21, today will be the same time. And the same time he set on January the 5th, in 1950 even. Has there ever been any change? Allah saying, when such a system of your dunya needs people working behind it, you think this whole mega system is going to work on its own? No. ذَلِكَ التَّقْدِيرُ الْعَزِيزُ. It is a being who is carrying it out. It is Allah who is controlling all this system from beginning till end. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say that another meaning for this destination of the sun, that the sun is traveling to his destination, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the sun. And the day created, it has a destination to go to. What's the destination? The day of Qiyamah. Yashamsu kuwirat. When the sun will be wrapped up, folded, finished. So since the day was created, it is going in this travel. It's traveling. Whether we see it, we don't see it. Whether it's cold, whether it's windy, whether it's raining, whether it's a storm. Whether we feel the heat or we don't feel the heat. What is the sun doing? The sun is undertaking this journey. What's the journey? From the day Allah created it till the day Qiyamah comes, it has to reach there. And this is the journey it is undertaking. And ذَلِكَ التَّقْدِيرُ الْعَزِيزُ. Allah is all knowing. Allah knows exactly how far it is, when it will reach the Qiyamah, when it will be folded away. Ulama mentioned that before Qiyamah, a time will come where the sun will rise from the east and it will set in the west. And then rather than coming out again from the east, the next day will not come up from the east. It will again come up from the west. It will rise from the west, go halfway. And when it hits midday, instead of finishing the cycle, it will set back in the west. Allah SWT says that إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَقْبَلُ التَّوْبَةَ الْعَبْدِ مَا لَمْ تَطْلُعِ الشَّمْسُ مِنْ مَغْرِبِهَا. That Allah SWT will forgive the sins of every person until the sun does not rise from the west. The day it rises from the west, the doors of Tawbah finish. And then Qiyamah is very close. After that, Qiyamah is very close. This is one of the great signs of Qiyamah. And ulama say that there are two types of Qiyamah. One is Qiyamah Sughra, one is Qiyamah Kubra. Kubra is a big Qiyamah, when everything will be demolished. When everything will become useless. Nothing will be left of any benefit. But before that Qiyamah Kubra, the big Qiyamah, every person will taste Qiyamah Sughra. And what's Qiyamah Sughra? When a person passes away. When he passes away, that's his Qiyamah. إِذَا مَاتَ قَامَتْ قِيَامَتُهُ. When that person dies, his Qiyamah is started. Just like when the big Qiyamah comes, everything will be destroyed and will become useless. In the same way, when a person dies, his eyes is gone. He can't use his eyes are no good to him. His tongue is no good to him. His ears are no good to him. His hands are no good to him. Allah SWT says regarding this person, regarding his Qiyamah, before the big Qiyamah comes, the Tawbah will stop when the sun rises from the west. And when a person dies, when will his Qiyamah? And when his Tawbah? إِذَا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَقْبَلُ التَّوْبَةَ الْعَبْدِ مَا لَمْ يُغَرْغِرْ. That as long as his breath not break. When a person about to die, then the last moments of his life, his breath will start to break. The moment that appears, that person's Tawbah is finished. He can't accept, because now the doors of Ghaib are open up to him. He can see angels coming. He can see the unseen. So when a person sees the unseen, that Tawbah is not accepted now. Why? It's too late. Your Iman and your Tawbah is dependent on what? الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. The person who brings Iman on the unseen, not after he's seen. When a person sees everything, even Fir'aun, when he saw it, when he saw Jibreel salam come and the angels descending, so what did he say? Al-an. He said, I want to be Rabbi Harun or Musa. I bought Iman on Harun and Musa salam's Rabb. Al-an wa qad asayt. Now you ask me. It's too late now. Why? Because you've seen the unseen. You've seen the angels coming now. Until today, it was unseen. You just heard. If you bought Iman on that, that's acceptable. But the minute you see it, that's the parda. The ghaib is open. It's too late now. So Allah SWT is saying that the second thing is that the sun, that its destination is the moment it started on the day it was created. Yes, destination, yes, to go right till Qiyamah. And the day Qiyamah comes, Yashamsu kuwirat, the sun will be finished. It will be wrapped up. There will be no need for sun after that. لا يرون فيها شمسا ولا زمهريرا. Allah says in Jannat, لا يرون فيها شمسا. You will not see no sun. But then there's a hadith that Jannat will be the length and the people will be under في ظلال وعيون, in shades. So if there's no sun, where's the shade from? Salman? If there's no sun, where's the shade from? لا يرون فيها شمسا ولا زمهريرا. There will be no sun. But Allah says that the believers will be in shades. shades, under trees, in shades, because the maza you get in sitting in a shade. If you go into a Arab country, garam mulk, hot country, and it's nice and hot in the afternoon, and you sit under the shade of a tree, and a breeze comes, see that maza, that is ajib, the feeling. And ulama say that if you sit by a palm tree, different maza. The palm tree's maza is alag. So where does shade come from? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala arsh. Allah's arsh will be so bright, Jannat will be beneath, the whole Jannat will be brightened with Allah's arsh. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says then, وَالْقَمَرَ قَدَّرْنَاهُ مَنَازِلَ حَتَّى عَادَ كَالْأُرْجُونِ الْقَدِيمِ وَالْقَمَرَ قَدَّرْنَاهُ. And the moon, now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke of the lunar system. This was the solar system. The lunar system, وَالْقَمَرَ قَدَّرْنَاهُ مَنَازِلَ. We have stipulated, we have determined stations, phases for the waxing and the waning of the moon. حَتَّى عَادَ كَالْأُرْجُونِ الْقَدِيمِ. Until it passes through all its processes and it returns like a branch of an old date palm. Old date palm. So the Arabs were used to seeing khajur, date palms were everywhere. And the date palm, when it grows and then the khajur comes out, and then as the season finishes, the leaves start to fall, they fall on the floor, and they'll become into a crescent shape. And they'll be really thin and they'll become yellow. So Allah was saying that, look at the moon, that the whole lunar system, unlike the sun that moves, the moon has its own different system. It has a waxing and a waning, that it starts off really thin and slowly increases, first night, second night, third night, until the 14th night, full moon, full big moon. The Aisha then says that I was looking at the moon, I was looking at my Habib, and I came to a conclusion that my Habib Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is more beautiful than that. Once a few days we were driving home, and it was the 14th night, and I told her, look at the moon, how beautiful it is. Because Aisha said that my Habib Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is definitely more beautiful than the moon. What the poet says, that the moon has craters. When you go close to the moon has craters. My Nabi has no crater. His skin is smooth. The moon has craters. He's got ins and outs. My Nabi is not like this. My Nabi is more. As Ali says, that he said, Ma ra'aytu mithlahu qablahu wala ba'dahu. I've never seen anybody like him before and after, never. Never seen anybody like this. As Hassan bin Thawi says, وَأَحْسَنَ مِنْكَ لَمْ تَرَ قَطُّ عَيْنِ وَأَحْسَنَ مِنْكَ لَمْ تَرَ قَطُّ عَيْنِ لَمْ تَرَ قَطُّ عَيْنِ. No eyes have seen anybody more beautiful than him. No eyes have ever seen anybody more beautiful than him. وَأَجْمَلُ مِنْكَ لَمْ تَلِدِ النِّسَاء. And no mother has given birth to anybody more handsome, more beautiful than him. خُلِقْتَ مُبَرًّا مِنْ كُلِّ عَيْبٍ. You have been created without any defects, no minuses, no negatives, no deficiencies. Everything is perfect. Your height is perfect, the skin color is perfect, your akhlaq are perfect. Everything is from top to bottom, left to right, back to front. Everything is perfect. خُلِقْتَ مُبَرًّا مِنْ كُلِّ عَيْبٍ كَأَنَّكَ قَدْ خُلِقْتَ كَمَا تَشَاءُ. It's as though, my Nabi, it's as though you've been created the way you wanted to be created. In emphasis of his beauty, saying as though Allah created you the way you wanted to be created. This is how beautiful Nabi is. So moon, the 14th moon, when it's so beautiful, and then after the 14th moon, it starts to wane slowly, a bit of it is cut off every day. And this whole process takes 28 days. And on the 29th day, you don't see anything. And then the moon starts again. This is the moon's phase. Then it's a new moon. So usually it takes 28 days for the whole thing. But from one moon to a new moon, from one moon to the new moon again, it takes 30 days roughly, 29 to 30 days. So Allah is saying that this whole moon, وَالْقَمَرَ قَدَّرْنَاهُ مَنَازِلَ حَتَّى عَادَ كَالْأُرْجُونِ الْقَدِيمِ. We have also made this. This is all our. But then a point for us to ponder is that look at these great creations. The sun, how big is it? How powerful, how mighty, how hot is it? And look at the sun, beauty, the moon. But look how dedicated they are in their service. Allah has fixed the time. Allah has given the system, given the timetable job here. How dedicated are they? How obedient are they? And how much punctuality? And when we look into our lives, we are ashraful makhluqat. We are very small in the type of creation compared to the sun. We are nothing. But the favors that Allah has granted upon us, the favors He showered upon us are so many more. And what's our obedience like? What's our punctuality like? What's our dedication like? In terms of how dedicated you are to Allah's ibadat. This is a lesson for us. Look, Allah says, look at the sun, how dedicated it is. Since the day was created, look how, never does it move off. Never does it come out late. And Allah's made life so easy for us. Look at our dedication in namaz, in tilawat, in zikr, in shukr, in how dedicated to Allah. Point for us to ponder. That if these big creations so dedicated, me a small creation, and I'm not being dedicated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after all these favors. So inshallah we'll continue next week. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the correct understanding. Also make us dedicated in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala obedience. Staying away from those things that displease Him, all the sins, and doing those things that create His pleasure, tilawat of the Quran, good akhlaq, piety, taqwa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all these great favors. Subhanallah, subhanallah.